Hey everybody, and welcome back to L&B Outdoors. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Today we got a nice little video for you of showing some of the junk that my dad and my grandpa used to use years ago. And we're gonna grab something and possibly try to get working for what I need. So y'all stay tuned, come along, let's explore some old farming implements. So this 5-row planter here is an Alice Chalmers, and I do remember them using this years ago. But as you can tell, we're in the woods. Technically, this is not the woods. There's a fence line right over there, and this is where all this equipment used to be parked. And you can see how it's just grown up. It hasn't been used in probably 30 years. So, but you can see how the trees growing around it. It probably wouldn't take a lot to get this one going, but I'm not even going to try it. Not worried with it. And it is, like I say, back in here. But I do remember them using this years ago. And still got all the chains on it and hoppers. Rusting down, falling apart. And we got an old concrete mixer back there. There's a toolbox. Got an old axle. This right here, I know it's hard to tell, but this used to be a homemade wood splitter. You got a straight blade over there. Front idler off a D6, I think, dozer. My grandpa used to have dozers all the time. That's how he cleaned up all this property. And that's probably, I'm sure, a 400 pound, 500 pound idler right there. Next up is an old batwing bush hog that don't work. It's hung out here in the weeds. See if I can walk around and show you. I think that gearbox over there is what's messed up on this one. No dry shaft going to it. And I can't remember if it's probably about a 12 or a 14 foot. Hasn't been used in years. There's an old grain drill, I guess, right back there. Hopefully y'all can see that. Been sitting out here a long time. Got an old 5-foot bush hog here. I want to say this one had gearbox go out in it as well. Not 100% sure. Out there is another batwing bush hog. Gearbox are gone. Deck's gone. I mean, literally, it's falling apart. A lot of this stuff I do remember when I was young. My dad and my grandpa using. But to show you the fence line right there at that big tree, and all the woods have just grown up over the years. Now, this is about a 6-foot cultivator. Been sitting here, I think, all of my life. I don't even think it's been used. Actually, I probably could use that. I just have to cut all these limbs and trees out to get to it. They used to do a lot of corn and soybeans. There's another elevator shoved up in the trees here. In our big barn up there, they would take in the back side of it, they would put up wood walls, and they'd back this in to the front side of the barn, and and with gravity wagons offload into this chute right here, and pump the corn up into the barn for storage until they're ready to go make a run and sell it off. No fertilizer spreader, seen its better days. There's a lot of stuff in here, but like I say, sitting 30 years, it wouldn't be no good. It'd be more scrap metal than anything else. Let's keep walking. You got a 6-foot bush hog right there. I know it's hard to see with the sun and all, but there's your tail wheel, gearbox. This one here I've thought about digging out, kind of seeing what's going on with it, and if the deck's good, that would be worthy of trying to get re-going, even if I got to get a gearbox, just to have an extra bush hog. There is a, looks like about a 12 or 14 foot cultivator back in here. I'm getting hung up on all these trees. Here it is. It's 3-point. That'd cover some area in a smaller amount of time. Let's see if we can keep going through here. Just bear with me. I think that's just junk over there. Let me make my way out and I'll show you a couple more items. Here's a set of 4-row bottom plows, heavy. I'm talking real heavy. I have used these a couple years ago on the big 282 Massey Ferguson. Now, it can do it, but it takes everything that 282's got to use them. So they don't get used that much. And like I say, I'm going to be in a hunt for a 2-row. For my smaller tractors, that'd be plenty. Of course, there's my Ford 3000. Still clicking along pretty good. Let me show you what I want to get right here. Before it. Oh, back in the day, they used to do a lot with irrigation and transferring of water from ponds to irrigating different fields. So this right here, I know it's hard to see, is a pump that used to use 20-foot sections of 4-inch aluminum piping, go across fields to big irrigation sprinklers. Runs off of a 4-cylinder Wisconsin engine. I come up here the other day looking at it and that motor froze up, but I do remember this running. So just some of this stuff is just kind of unique because you hardly see it anymore. You know, you talk about Wisconsin engines, they're kind of getting harder and harder to find, at least down here in Florida. You know, up north it's a lot more easier, but down here they're not. This here is an old grain mill, seed grinder, grain grinder. Of course, it's seen its better days, rusting down. A lot of this stuff just needs to go to scrap metal, but they might be parts and pieces. That's why I hardly ever get rid of anything, 'cause you never know what parts and pieces you may could use off something onto something else. But a lot of metal, a lot of gears, grinding blades in there. Fun, fun. This is what I'm coming after. It's a sprayer unit. Got some old drums on it. Got 2 booms back there. It's going to take a lot of work, and it does have the PTO pump, but I'm going to do away with all that, and we'll talk about that in another video. But it's got a good frame. I'll replace the drums, and I may do like 2 separate units. One drum be for like a liquid fertilizer. One drum will be like weed killing, and go about it that way. I don't know yet. I got to tear it down and disassemble it and see what all I gotta have and go about it. But it needs to be gotten up out of the weeds. It's starting to get warm weather here. You gotta watch out for gopher holes, because rattlesnakes like to hide off in them. So you always need to be careful out here tromping through the woods. But let's see if we can get backed up to this. I think I'm gonna try to just scoop that whole tire up and just take the whole unit instead of trying to hook it up. I got the forks on the back of the Ford 3000. We'll just try to fork it up right there and ease it to the house, and you know, look at it in a different video. But I just wanted to show y'all kind of all this junk that we got. Literally it's junk, but you can always make something out of it, and that's where I'm at. You know, I always like to reinvent and make things work again, and it may not be the same fashion, but we're gonna make it work. Anyway, let's get this thing hooked up, see if we can get this thing out of here. We might look at it a little more, but yeah, let's go. Well, it ought to ride right there, maybe. Now with it out, you can kind of see a little better. It does have booms. I'm sure the nozzle tips are no good, but we'll clean each one of them up and see. But hey, free 99, you can't beat that. So we're going to try to ease this to the house without it falling off, and wrap it up. But yeah, with these booms being 5 foot long, they probably 10 foot wide spray, and that's fine. I ain't got no problem with that. I'm gonna try to keep everything as much as original as I can, just for nostalgia. You know, my dad and grandpa used it, so it's just something pretty cool, I think. And plus, I'll be able to use it on the hay fields and gardens and everything else. Let's get this thing onto the house. We got it back to the house. I get a little extra time. We're gonna start tearing into this thing. Yeah, the old PTO pump's gonna go. Probably that valve's gonna go. Drums is gonna go. I'm gonna get some newer drums. I'm probably not gonna go out the bottom like these are. I'll come out the top. And I'm thinking about an electric motor for a pump, like a 5 gallon a minute type thing. That's my thought process. Let me know what y'all think. What should I do? I know I can get a lot more pressure out of that PTO pump, but that thing's been sitting for 30 years. It ain't gonna work. And I want to be able to use this in probably the next couple of weeks. So anyway, it's definitely seen its better day. I left it on this tire so it can set up off the ground a little bit, because if it sets on the ground, I don't think my 3-point arms will go that low to even pick it up. So that's kind of why I left it on there. It's leaning a little bit, but it's because that tire has caved. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed me going down memory lane. I enjoyed it. Of looking at all that old equipment and how much time grows up around these trees. If y'all got something like that, just drop it down in the comments, let me know. You remember something your family did, your dad, granddad, and just to see how nature takes it over. That's pretty bad up there. And I can remember back when that was just a fence line. There was no trees, bushes, and we had to walk through the woods, literally. But anyway, I'm gonna start working on this here in the near future. Y'all let me know what y'all would do with it. Drop it down in the comments. Hit me up. Appreciate y'all watching. Y'all make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We'll see y'all in the next video.